right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Back to the books, but not back in the building. A major step forward for Central VPA.
We need to make sure that the trauma is dealt with, the trauma that everyone has.
Tonight, the head of the National Teachers Union weighs in on moving forward from tragedy. Forgiveness blocked. A St. Louis court put student loan borrowers in limbo. Tonight, we verify the future of the president's plan.
But first tonight, a weather alert. The Weather First team tracking snow moving into our area right now. The impacts it may have on your Tuesday morning commute.
Tonight, road crews on both sides of the river are gearing up for a busy night ahead. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Ann Allred has the night off. Take a look at these two traffic cameras. On the left is I-44 in Franklin County, where the snow is already falling and accumulating on the grassy areas. On the right is Wentzville, which looks pretty quiet right now. But let's get straight over to Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell, who's tracking the timing of the snow moving in overnight.
And
Scott.
that snow is on the way, on the doorstep of the metro area right now. Already seeing the snow back to our west and southwest. Looking out into Jefferson City, the visibility has come down, and so have the temperatures. Still above freezing in Jeff City, but the snow there, you can see the slick roads around the Capitol building and the reduced visibility. St. Charles, well, we're looking at dry roads right now, but it won't be that way for very long. Now, there's a little bit of rain at the very onset of this for some of us. That includes at the Weather Service office out in Weldon Springs, just a few sprinkles, but it'll go over to snow very quickly. That is what we're seeing as you get down into Reynolds County right now. We're seeing reports of snow all along 44 from west of St. Clair down through Sullivan and into the Cuba area. And our temperatures right now in the areas where the snow has been falling, they've dropped off. 34 in Sullivan, Rollins 33. Lake of the Ozarks, most roads there already covered, and it's 32 degrees. Futurecast shows all of this sliding in. So why are we in an alert day for Tuesday morning? It's that snow overnight, very early tomorrow morning. Wet and slick roads are expected. Depending on the intensity of the snow, some areas will have more road problems than others as temperatures hover right around freezing. So that widespread snow is moving in, the heaviest in the metro area from 1 to 4 in the morning. And we're thinking wet to slushy roads for most spots around Metro St. Louis. We'll see in a few minutes. We'll talk more on specifics for accumulations in your neighborhood.
Area drivers and road crews on both sides of the bi-state are getting ready for the next round of winter weather. Our Robert Townsend is live near I-64 in Midtown with how folks are preparing. Robert?
Hey there, Mike. Right now, let me tell you, it is cold and clear out here at this 10 o'clock hour, but in just a few hours, snowflakes will likely be falling back there along I-64. Now, a lot of folks told me the snow really is not a big deal for them right now, but others, they aren't taking any chances with Mother Nature.
You just never know. I mean, the weather's unpredictable here in the Midwest. So, just be prepared.
Courtney Moore says on Saturday he woke up to several inches of snow outside his home in Cahokia Heights, and like so many, he was not prepared for it. But come tomorrow, Moore says he will be ready. Tonight he filled up his tank and he will give himself extra time ahead of his morning commute. Meantime, MoDOT IDOT crews spent the evening pre-treating lots of roads. They want to make sure those potential slick roads, interstates, and highways will definitely be safe for drivers. Both agencies are preparing for the snow as they deal with ongoing staff shortages.
MoDOT is nearly 1,000 employees, or 30% below the staffing levels that we would like to see for tackling a winter storm.
We will be able to have plenty for the current event. We should be able to get between 130 and 140 on each shift, and then there is a period of time where we will be able to overlap if needed.
Now, both agencies will be having drivers out there working all night long ahead of this latest blast of winter. We're live in Midtown. I'm Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
And for the latest on the forecast, road conditions, and any closings or delays, just text the word weather to 314-425-5355. You can also log on to KSDK.com or download the free 5 on Your Side app. Central Visual and Performing Arts high school students and teachers returned to remote learning today. It's the first time since the tragic shooting 3 weeks ago that killed a teacher and a student. Our Laura Barczewski joins us in studio with the changes the school community would like to see before returning to the building. Laura.
Mike, the president of the American Federation of Teachers Union says there are a couple of things they think will help this community get back on its feet. I also talked with a CVPA teacher about what they need, and she says they really need to be together again.
There is a lot of trauma still, and there's not a lot of good answers yet.
American Federation of Teachers President Randi Weingarten says she spent the day listening to Central VPA and collegiate teachers, families, and elected officials close to the tragic school shooting to come up with short-term and long-term solutions.
Long-term, there needs to be changes in the law. Red flag laws really work, and they would have worked here.
And what are some steps that the union can take that, you can do now?
Well, one of the things we can do is get more guidance counselors into both of these schools immediately and have that commitment through the end of the year. A second thing we can do is make sure that the changes, the safety changes that need to happen, including having security, including having, changes to the doors and the windows and things like that, happen as quickly as possible.
Both Central VPA and Collegiate are learning virtually. Central teacher Ashley Meredith says it was good to be with students again, even just online.
It was really encouraging to see my students today. Most of them didn't put their cameras on, but in every single class that I had today, we had so much participation.
Meredith says as a performance-based school, virtual instruction isn't going to work for very long, but staff and students have mixed feelings.
I think that we need to be together. I think that we need a space where we can have students performing. There needs to be something that they can work towards, something that they can showcase. They need to be able to process in the way that they process.
She says the whole school community really misses teacher Jean Kuchka and student Alexandria Bell.
I think that we do them justice by continuing on, and I trust that we will heal as we do, and that we are going to get better.
Meredith says the best Christmas gift for her would be returning to class in person before holiday break even begins, even if it means an alternative location, which they're still working on as the school building is still undergoing repairs. Mike?
And tomorrow, 2 St. Louis McDonald's restaurants will host a fundraiser for those impacted by last month's shooting. It will run tomorrow night from 4 until 8 at the McDonald's on South Kings Highway in the Bevo neighborhood. The other location is in North City on Natural Bridge near Kings Highway. Tonight, 2 people are in police custody in connection to recent smash-and-grab burglaries throughout St. Louis. Dozens of bars, restaurants, and stores have been hit in recent weeks. Investigators have also identified 2 more suspects and hope to make arrests soon. Police believe more than one group is responsible.
That there could be as many as 3 groups that are working throughout the city. So, of course, that complicates things just a little bit, but we're working on identifying them and then kind of sorting out where we are with each group and which burglaries and which incidents correlate with who.
So far, no charges have been filed. A live look now at the U.S. Capitol. Tonight, control of the U.S. House of Representatives is still up in the air. Republicans appear on track to take the House by a very narrow margin, with Democrats falling short in the Lake Count and battleground districts in California and Arizona. Democrats will keep a majority in the Senate after weekend victories for incumbents Mark Kelly in Arizona and Catherine Cortez Masto in Nevada. This means Chuck Schumer will remain majority leader, but Missouri Senator Josh Hawley says it's time for a new minority leader.
I'm not going to vote for Senator McConnell, and I've been very clear about that. I think that this election was the funeral for the Republican Party as we know it. The Republican Party, as we have known it, is dead, and voters have made that clear.
Tomorrow, former President Trump is widely expected to announce he's running for president again. This amid growing debate over his role in the Republican Party after several of the candidates he backed lost their midterm bids. Tonight, millions of Americans with student loan debt are left hanging. Today, a federal appeals court here in St. Louis agreed to a temporary injunction halting the Biden administration's plan to relieve billions of dollars in federal student loans. Our Verify team is breaking down what this means for borrowers. Here's Adiane Day-Till.
Another setback in President Biden's plan to relieve millions of dollars in student loan debt for Americans. A ruling by a district court in Texas says Biden's plan is unconstitutional. This comes about a month after a U.S. Circuit Court paused the program. During the pause, eligible borrowers were still encouraged to apply for up to $20,000 in relief on certain loans held by the Department of Education. But following this Texas ruling, people are now claiming that the application has been closed. But is that true? Let's verify. Our sources are the Student Loan Debt Relief Program application, the U.S. Department of Education, and Brown versus the U.S. Department of Education. The plaintiff in Brown versus the U.S. Department of Education argued that before a federal agency like the Department of Education can implement a program, they're required by law to seek public comment. On November 10th, a Texas court agreed, ruling the Department of Education illegally skipped that step before rolling out the student loan forgiveness plan. The court blocked the program after declaring it was unlawful. The next day, the application form for the student loan forgiveness program was taken down. So we can verify, yes, applications for the student loan forgiveness program are currently closed. The Department of Education has filed an appeal which would elevate the case to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. On Monday, a separate federal appeals court panel also issued a new ruling, extending the pause on the program. To date, more than 20 million Americans have applied for forgiveness. With your Verify, I'm Adiane Day-Till.
What can we verify for you? Just send us an email to verify@ksdk.com.
Going under the knife. It's invasive and sometimes unnecessary. The tough questions to ask before following your doctor's orders. Google agrees to pay millions for tracking your location. The big settlements coming to Missouri and Illinois.
Snow accumulation so far across Missouri haven't been very impressive, but it doesn't take much snow to mess up the morning commute around St. Louis. We're tracking hour by hour.
Tonight, a prayer vigil was held on the University of Virginia campus for 3 football players gunned down by a fellow student and former teammate. Christopher Darnell Jones was arrested after a 12-hour search. Police say he opened fire on a bus returning from a class trip. 2 others were injured. Jones is now charged with 3 counts of second-degree murder, and police have not yet offered a motive for the attack. President Joe Biden met with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping today at the G20 summit in Indonesia. He called their talks blunt on an array of issues, including Taiwan. Last week, the president was at the United Nations Climate Conference in Egypt, and so was a WashU law student.
It was really amazing to get to see so many change makers, world leaders, and community leaders all in one place to address such a big problem.
23-year-old Abigail Hunt is pursuing environmental law and was invited to be in the room with people like President Biden, John Kerry, Al Gore, and others. I asked her if she left the conference with hope.
You know, I think hope is it's a complicated thing in climate change because you have to balance the urgency of it is bearing down on us and kind of coming in on all fronts, and it's time to be bold with our action. On the other hand, it is hopeful to see so many people and so many brilliant scientists and lawyers, policymakers, leaders all coming together to address it.
Abby believes we all have to stand up and demand better for our communities. Google has agreed to pay a $392 million settlement to 40 states, including Missouri and Illinois, over its location tracking practices. It's the largest multi-state privacy settlement in U.S. history. The search giant was accused of misleading consumers over tracking locations even after disabling the feature. The Illinois Attorney General's office says the state will receive more than $19 million. No word yet on Missouri's share of the settlement. For a serious medical condition, surgery is often life-saving. But a new report finds doctors performed tens of thousands of unnecessary procedures in 2020. Consumer Reports has important advice on how to make sure you're getting the care you really need.
During the first 10 months of the COVID-19 pandemic, even when most cities were on lockdown, Medicare was billed for over 100,000 overused or unnecessary surgeries or procedures, according to the nonprofit Loan Institute. That includes more than 45,000 stents for coronary heart disease, 16,000 vertebroplasties for osteoporosis, and 14,000 hysterectomies for benign disease.
In some instances, these are life-saving procedures. However, in a number of cases, a patient's condition could also be well managed with a less invasive treatment that was just as effective.
Take the more than 13,000 unnecessary spinal fusions, the study found. While the procedure can be successful, experts say for moderate to mild back pain, it's often no more effective than non-surgical treatments like physical therapy. So if your doctor recommends a surgical procedure, have an open and honest talk about the benefits and risks. Not sure where to begin? Consumer Reports has 2 easy questions to get the conversation started. If your parent or child had this condition, would you recommend this procedure?
This forces your doctor to sort of take a moment and pause. It also helps them connect to what you're experiencing as a patient.
What alternatives are there?
You want to know, for instance, if there are other appropriate options that may be less invasive, have fewer potential side effects, or require less healing time.
And before any major procedure, seriously consider a second opinion. Your doctor should welcome other colleagues' ideas and input, and if they don't, you might want to look for a new physician.
Another question you can ask, how much will this cost me? Because of the recent No Surprises Act, healthcare providers are now required to give you an easy-to-understand estimate explaining what you'll be charged. Well, we're just getting started with winter weather in St. Louis, but plans are already underway to meet at the Muni in Forest Park next summer. The 2023 season was announced today. Beautiful, the Carole King musical, will kick off the season on June 12th. It's one of 4 shows making its Muni debut, including Chess, Rent, and Sister Act, Beauty and the Beast, West Side Story, and Little Shop of Horrors. Also in the lineup, single tickets for the season go on sale in May. And tonight, we're a far cry from those hot summer nights at the Muni. Scott is tracking the snow moving into the area. Tomorrow will be a weather alert day.
Yes, it is, especially early in the morning. Then by the afternoon hours, what snow we see, most of it probably going to be melting at that point, but your Weather First team definitely keeping tabs on things tonight. Looking out into St. Charles, traffic's rolling along without any problems here in St. Charles County. 40 degrees right now. We're going to start with the snow totals because I know that's what you want to know about. So let's do this. South and east of St. Louis, we're going to go up to an inch. You're going to have a little more rain mixed in here along the Interstate 57 corridor down towards Sparta and Pinckneyville. Metro area up to 2 inches. Now, there could be some spots that don't even get a ½ an inch of snow, and then there'll be some that are right at 2 inches or maybe a little more, especially going north and west of St. Louis where we may see a little bit of banding. So as we're looking out there right now, pretty quiet around St. Louis. We have seen the snow start to develop to the south of St. Louis and to the southwest. Looks like we have a little bit falling here around Arnold. We do have reports in Dittmer from the weather watchers there that snow is coming down. Little rain in there at the leading edge as it's pushing into St. Louis, but it only stays that way for about 15 to 20 minutes, then goes over to snow. And it's been snowing at a pretty good clip here down 44, especially once you get west of St. Clair, heading down towards Sullivan, especially the grassy surfaces starting to see some accumulation right now. As this continues to spread onto the east, watching those country roads, weavy, windy, hilly terrain down here with the eastern Ozarks, there could be slick spots that develop overnight. Fortunately, the snow should be winding down early in the morning, and maybe that'll give the road crews time to pick things up. Back edge of this precip, well, it's already coming into eastern portions of Kansas, already sliding into southwest Missouri, so we really think the bands of heavier snow will likely be north and west of St. Louis. But timing it out, again, we quickly go over to snow here, so by 2 o'clock, it's coming down in St. Louis. Not a lot, mostly sticking to the ground. Still some rain mixed in south and east. You may not get much at all in some spots southeast of St. Louis. North and west, the more likely areas to see a little more in the way of significant snow. Temperatures drop around freezing while that's happening, but then it all pushes away during the morning rush hour. And with temperatures just around freezing and these snowfall amounts being light and especially confined to areas that are grassy or the elevated surfaces, roads should be mainly wet to slightly slushy early tomorrow morning. Road crews are also going to be out. They're ready to go. 40 degrees at Lambert right now with a cloudy sky. That dew point 27. The temperature dew points, they're going to converge on each other, and we'll get down around 32, 33 degrees here as the snow spreads in. So the weather alert overnight into early tomorrow morning. And then once the snow ends, it's mostly cloudy during the rest of the day, upper 30s to low 40s, brisk winds and cold with a lot of clouds on Wednesday, even colder for Friday as another surge of cold air comes in. Heading into next week as we push towards Wednesday, big travel day, there is a chance we'll see some rain next Wednesday, and that may last into Thanksgiving, but temperatures get back to about average, closer to 50 degrees.
But be careful in the morning for
Absolutely.
sure. All right, Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Wait till you see the videos of our new soccer stadium. SLU is going to the NCAA soccer tourney. The Blues are smoking hot, and we're playing hit and run with Joe Buck. A week ago, we wondered when the Blues would ever win again. Tonight, we're thinking, you know, if you beat the Avalanche after just beating the Golden Knights, we just may get back in this thing. One thing the Blues had going for them was this scene. Their moms are on the trip. Now, the dads have always been good luck. Pressure on the moms. Second period, Robert Thomas breakaway. And we are going to be tied in one. And look at the moms. They are loving this. Final minute, second period. Brandon Saad somehow sneaks it in for the note. And once again, look at the moms. It's 3-2 Blues in the third period with about 7 minutes to go. Congrats to the SLU men's soccer team. They got an NCAA berth, a record 50th for them. They host Memphis Thursday. The winner gets Indiana, and part of the reason is Carlos Tofern, who for the second consecutive game was out of sight in stopping penalty shots. Yesterday's performance won the A-10 versus Loyola Chicago.
It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. One of those unique moments in sport that you're happy to be a part of. You know, it's a safe 6 penalties out of 8. That's unheard of.
Went on tour today of City Park, and this is the Taj Mahal of soccer stadiums. 52 food and beverage places to choose from. The stadium is just gorgeous. They had 60,000 season ticket requests in 24 hours. Wednesday night it opens up. 22,500 will be on hand to watch St. Louis City 2 face Bayer Leverkusen from Germany. Hey, we no longer have an undefeated team in the NFL. The 4-5 Commanders go to Philly and shock the Eagles. Brian Robinson Jr. with a touchdown. Washington wins 32-21. Illinois hosted Monmouth, and Terrence Shannon Jr. had 21 in the first half, 30 for the game, and Illinois rolls 103-65. So we often play hit and run with a sports celebrity. Nobody is bigger than Joe Buck, who's broadcasted 24 World Series. Tonight, he did Monday Night Football, but before that, it was hit and run. Which interview subject did you sit down where you thought to yourself, oh my gosh, I am talking to him or her?
Bobby Knight on my DirecTV interview show, because I went to Indiana and I was there when he was there, and he scared the living hell out of me.
If you're John Mozeliak, what are you thinking about this offseason?
I'm dreaming of Trey Turner, but there are other general managers dreaming of Trey Turner. But he is hands down the best fit for this team going forward. More than Correa, and I don't know that they're willing to spend the money that it's going to take to bring a Correa or even Trey Turner.
Let's say there's not broadcasting in this world. You would have done what?
I would have, I think I would have been an ad exec, thinking of weird ways to sell product and get people's attention.
Have you ever watched a broadcaster and thought, wow, he's better than I am?
Yes.
Who?
Al, Tirico, every once in a while. Yeah,
right,
I'll stop there.
All right. At the end of your career, what would you want someone to say about your work?
He didn't get in the way of a good game. He didn't make it about him. And he was a nice person to everybody that he worked with. And if I could get those two things, then I think I will have done not only what I wanted to do, but what my dad wanted me to do in this business.
And his dad's got to be really proud.
Oh, for sure. Thanks, Frank. We'll be right back. The Cardinals are celebrating Red Friday this week. It's your first opportunity to get your hands on tickets for next season. You can also secure seats for opening day. All-inclusive tickets and various game packs will go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. on the Cardinals website. Well, you can own Ralphie Parker's house on good old Cleveland Street. The home used in the filming of the 1983 classic A Christmas Story is up for sale. It's now a tourist attraction. The sale includes the neighboring Bumpus House, museum, and gift shop. No asking price was given. And Scott has a final check of the wintry weather moving in overnight.
Yeah, we're going to stay weather alert here through tomorrow morning. The snow is on the radar screen right now. Not all of it's reaching the ground. Initially, when it first starts, there is a little bit of rain that's mixed in with it. But going southwest of St. Louis, you really pick up that snow going down 44. So far, we've heard from Cuba with just a dusting. But Lake of the Ozarks has had about 3 inches of heavy, wet snow and slick spots there. I think the heaviest snow will go by to the north and west of St. Louis, but enough to potentially cause problems early tomorrow morning, Mike.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next. The Boss, Bruce Springsteen, is his guest.